Hello, my name is Andrew Morgan.
My name is Shane Beauregard.
And my name is Chris Frodell.
And together we form like Voltron to make a brand new entertainment and pop culture podcast called Recent Activity.
Every Wednesday, we will bring you deep dive reviews of the hottest titles from around the film and TV world, previews of the next big things to add to your watch list, or do fun things like top 5 lists, movie drafts, or anniversary celebrations of your favorite classic films.
Subscribe now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Starting May the 11th.
Hello there, I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're nerds who love science fiction and fantasy stories, so of course, we love Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So each episode we journey to a galaxy far, far away to discuss what's new in the Star Wars canon and beyond with yet another Star Wars podcast.
From the endless sand dunes of Tatooine to the highest levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is proudly part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hi, I'm Chamar Griffith, codename Comic Shams.
And I'm Andrew Tejada, codename Arate.
I'm a blurred with a love for artwork and comics and animation.
And I'm a writer in Blurred with a love for pretty much the same things.
We grew up together and spent much of our formative years watching and talking about DC superhero shows and content. In fact, we still do.
Every episode, we will discuss a DC production, compare it to its original source material, and share our thoughts on the adaptation.
We've enjoyed our conversations these past couple of decades, and we think you will too.
This month, we're checking out New Earths as we hop across the DC-verse on
yet another DC animated podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. Welcome to yet another episode of yet another DC animated podcast. My name is Chamar Griffith, codename Comic Shams.
And I am Andrew Tejada, codename Arate.
Andrew and I have known each other since 1996.
That was when the Marvel and DC universes crossed over for a massive comic event. So if you're sitting here like, I want to see Hulk fight Tusk, that does not happen in that crossover, but I'm sure other things do.
Hulk versus Tusk is too ahead of his time. We have to wait at least 30 more centuries before that happens.
That's how the MCU will end. The Hulk versus Tusk for the fate of the multiverse.
Okay, good. My thoughts on the MCU ending was that Morbius finally crosses over, but I'm glad that we do Hulk versus Tusk instead.
No, Morbius will be the first to die.
Oh, thank God.
His whole universe will get shredded first.
But as we're talking about Morbius and Hulk versus Tusk and Marvel versus DC and one of my favorite story arcs of the amalgamated universe, love that thing because we also get some crossovers later on of I think Captain America and Superman at one point in the future comic also fused together. So,
that's just OP. That's too much America.
If you thought you were American, take a look at, I don't know what they call it, I guess Super Soldier.
Oh yeah, Super Soldier? Come on. Come on. That's so lazy.
But why are we talking about these crossovers and branching through, I guess you could say, the multiverse of comic book history? Now, I'm going to try to do this super quick because I do want to do something really different for our multiverse month here, because we do want to give a bit of a breakdown. What is the multiverse? We're going to be going through these 4 movies that are called about like hopping to different Earths. Things are different. Like Coca-Cola could be spelled with a K instead of a C, or the Berenstein Bears could have an E versus an A. Like there are so many small differences.
No, not the Berenstein though. Leave that alone. You can't go back there again.
So now I'm just going to start talking about what is a multiverse. So scientific definition, this is the theory that states that there's a collection of universes, including our own, and that they all coexist together. This theory came from ancient Greece, was made a little bit more popular in the 3rd century by the Greek philosopher Chrysippus. I think that's how you...
Sure.
Christopher? We'll call him my main man, Chris. Chris was a Greek philosopher who suggested that the world would eternally expire and regenerate each time, and we all existed on a singular timeline. So that created the idea that there are multiple Earths happening, coexisting all at the same time on one particular timeline, which then got adapted more into medieval ages. And finally, by 1895, William James, an American philosopher, coined the actual term multiverse. And comics have been dealing with it for a while. You know, Marvel is diving into it with their cinematic universe right now. You know, this is why we have different versions of Spider-Man, different versions of Captain America and all that. IDW has been heavily focused in on it. IDW is the company that creates the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics and stories, because they heavily focused on a lot of dimensional travel in some stages of the TMNT story. But more importantly, our world, DC, has been messing around in the multiverse since like the dawn of the book. The very first page has been dealing with the multiverse. And that multiverse really kind of came to be known back in Flash number 123. This is when Flash, Barry Allen, first met Jay Garrick, when we first get mentions of it. And since then, since 1961, Andrew, if you had to guess, how many parallel universes you think have existed in the DC multiverse?
Only 52.
Yes and no.
Oh, damn it.
So DC does like to cut down their multiverse to the point where it's only 52 Earths exist at the same exact time. However, in terms of how many have been created, whether they've been destroyed or kind of roughly documented, we have approximately 199 parallel universes that have existed within the DC universe at any point throughout all of our history.
Damn, that is a lot of travel to do.
So now this is the part where it might sound super religious, because now I'm going to break down a little bit about how the DC multiverse really was created, because we now have a crazy set of comics that have been going through and explaining how and who was a part of it. So everything originates from the present. This is a being that was first introduced in More Fun Comics number 52 back in 1940. In the comics, he's this like heavyset guy with a mustache and a suit, jacket, tie, and a bowler hat. He's also depicted as gone by the names of the Voice, the Hand, and the Source. Now, the Source we know because it is the thing that we talk about before our comic book stuff, where it's like the Source wall. He is basically the one that's created all of that. He's by the new gods, the ones like Orion and Apocalypse and on Genesis and all of them, they revere the Source because they see it as the being that gives them energy and life, and as well as their superpowers. The Source, because of the fact that, you know, controlling the universe is such a big job, created the Hands. These are cosmic entities that were first introduced in Dark Knight's Death Metal in February of 2021. They are control of the Omniverse. The Omniverse is same as the multiverse, but it's the collection of the multiverses. So we have Omniverse. Inside that is the multiverses, and then inside those we have the individual universes. So really trying to map this out correctly, the Omniverse and the walls that exist between them are the reasons why when Flash is just like earth hopping throughout the multiverse, he doesn't happen upon Quicksilver, because there are walls set in place to make sure that the DC doesn't cross over to the Marvel side.
Yes, the walls erected by Mr. Mickey and Sir Bugs of the Omniverse Council.
Yep, exactly. So the person who is responsible, the hand that's responsible for the DC multiverse, is Perpetua. She was one of the original sets of hands that we actually see her hand created in the DC multiverse many times so far. With if you've seen the Justice League time travel episode, where it's the hand that's coming together to create the Big Bang. And this is also the same hand that we see in the Arrowverse Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that happened around actually in 2019 as well. So
there was a hand there.
Yeah, when Marnovu, when he was first still the Monitor, he was peering into the beginning of time, and they do show the hand, which is supposed to be Perpetua's hand, coming together to create the multiverse that creates the DC multiverse.
I gotcha now. Yes, that's why Flash from the TV show was able to meet the DCEU Flash, who will probably never be changed for another actor ever. Probably will be the same actor for the next 10 to 20 years. Definitely.
Yep. At least according to Hawaii.
Yeah. The Hawaiians, our fellow Hawaiians will decide.
So Perpetua, she was first introduced actually in Justice League number 8 back in 2018. So she's a pretty new creation. She's the mother, speaking of the Monitor, she's the mother of the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger. These three, they are in charge of basically their own sections of the multiverse. World Forger operates in the dark matter realm for our Flash fans. He is the one that is creating the actual worlds that come up within the multiverse. Then we have Monitor. He's guarding the positive matter realm, the regular Earth, like Earth 1 and blah, 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 from the dark forces that may come from the dark matter realm. So clearly he was not doing a great job during Flash season 1. Mm-mm. And then finally, we have the Anti-Monitor, aka Mobius, who is stationed in the antimatter realm. He's making sure that the light of creation from the positive matter universe doesn't bleed into the greater omniverse, because again, they're not supposed to know about this greater force that's out there. Unfortunately, with all this power, Perpetua does go mad, and it's up to her sons, along with their other hands that were controlling the omniverses, to take her down. So they're able to lock her away behind the source wall. And since then, she has been trying to break out. But the only thing is that she feeds off of crisis energy. So things like Infinite Crisis, 0 Hour, Time Crisis, moments like that is what gives her power. And because of that, she's been trying to break through the wall little by little. So when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, it was just enough that she was able to keep on talking to other people to create crisis events. But when she was imprisoned behind the source wall for the first time, before any cracks appeared, she was able to speak to her son and twist her son, the Anti-Monitor's mind, into wanting to invade the positive matter side. And that's why we got Crisis on Infinite Earths, because it was her attempt to actually break out, to start the world anew in her own image. And right now, or about the time of still kind of like, we kind of like wrapped up her story arc a little bit in the comics. But she does break out ultimately, and this happens and leads into events such as Dark Knight Metal and Death Metal and all the other kind of like crisis moment events that have been happening throughout the DC world in the comics recently.
So that is that's different from the CW verse, where it was just basically Wells's fault.
Yeah. I mean, Wells, yeah, I mean, that's still a pretty big fault that he did, though. But it would be cool if they did introduce her in some way. I think because of the fact it's still too new, and this might be something that was just like, this requires a film, maybe, or a mini series, I guess, to really talk it through. But yeah, Perpetua is the reason why we've always had crisis events up in DC. She's the reason why we have lost so many of our heroes, why new worlds get created, why we now also have a dark multiverse now in the comics. It is just a wild set of stories that DC has been venturing into to somehow expand on their multiverse, which is already kind of a big feat when you think about even creating a multiverse.
Yeah, and go with me here on this. While thinking about all the multiverse stuff, I thought what would be fun right now is to look at how many, because this is legitimately getting confusing. How many DC live action universes exist? Because years ago with Crisis on Infinite Earths, we were told that there was only one Earth, right? It was just the one. However, they also clearly established that the Doom Patrol universe still was around, as well as the DCEU, in a very blink and you'll miss it cameo. So now in this current society, now post Crisis on Infinite Earths, how many Earths are now out there in live action? So we're assuming Gotham, anything that ended airing before, such as Gotham and Krypton, we can disregard.
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. Yeah, all of those we can disregard. But now how many do we have left?
It's a very good question, mainly because are we also counting random DC productions? Like I'm thinking about Netflix's Sweet Tooth as well as DMZ. Wondering if that counts.
Yes, I luckily we have a list right here. And we're gonna to figure out does anyone know where Naomi takes place?
Oh God, no.
Is that a different universe as well?
I will put money on the fact that it does, because apparently in that show, spoilers, no one knows that whether Superman is real or not. And it's like at this point, it's like 16 years after the events of Crisis on Infinite Earth. So, and Superman was already active for many years prior to that. So we're missing people know that Superman should be real.
Right. And so the Crisis on Infinite Earths. So to make everything above board, to be completely transparent, it was supposed to happen in 2019 within the show. That's what they said. It was happening in 2019, maybe 2020. So we could assume any show that had episodes after that is now exempt from Crisis. So we have the CW verse. That's your Flash, your Legends, your Batwoman, Superman, and Lois.
Yeah.
So the timeline is shaky. We'll leave that alone today. Stargirl has to take place in a different universe.
Oh, it definitely does. I think, though, just because of John Wesley Shipp being the Flash, apparently, of their universe. But does John Wesley Shipp exist in Earth 1?
Is that a doppelganger? Or
right?
Is Stargirl a prequel to the Crisis on Infinite Earths?
So yeah, multiverse is tricky.
So yeah, I'm gonna say to be safe, I'm gonna say yes, because it doesn't. They're doing Green Lantern stuff over there. There's a lot going on. The third confirmed universe we know for sure is the Pennyworth verse.
Yes.
Theoretically, could it be a prequel to any of these other series? Maybe, but I'm not counting it. It's the Pennyworth verse. Pennyworth verse, Arrowverse, Stargirl verse, Naomi verse. That's 4. The fifth one we got is the Doom Patrol Titans verse. Slash soon to be, what is it? Dead Boy, Ghost Girl, and Dead Boy. Oh no, it's a Dead Detective Agency.
The Dead Detective Agency.
Yeah. So on Doom Patrol this year, 2 Ghost Boys showed up to help the Doom Patrol get out of a jam, and it is recently announced they're spinning off into a new show.
I have to catch up on Doom Patrol, I do have to admit, but what the
Yep, the Dead Detectives are on there. So
oh gosh, this is getting confusing.
But what about the DCEU though? That's not confusing, right?
Batgirl and Blue Beetle, like, will their shows also coexist on the DCEU, or is this now creation of a separate universe?
Well, yeah, they could be in the Peacemaker DCEU verse. Conceivably, yes, they could fit in there, but they won't save us from the Joker verse. And I'm talking about just Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. That I don't think can tie into anybody else yet.
No,
I don't think
that one is safe solo.
Yeah, 2019's Joker, a prequel to the Batman? No, it's not. But speaking of the Batman has its own live action verse that will be expanding with the Penguin. And then we have DMZ. Have we covered them all? Are those all the also the Lucifer verse? I forgot about that.
Lucifer verse, yes.
The Sandman.
Yeah, that's coming out too. Damn.
You got Sweet Tooth. Why the Last Man, which is canceled. Preacher, which is canceled. So out of
the
all
Swamp Thing still count? I know. Was that before Infinite Crisis?
Swamp Thing is in the Titans verse.
Okay. We sure about that?
Yes, because there was a reason why. Probably because they all aired on DC Universe. There was nothing in Swamp Thing that contradicted it being in the Titans verse.
Okay. The only reason why I asked because I was like flashing back to watching Infinite Crisis and remembering Swamp Thing look at me while I was looking at him on the screen.
Just staring into your soul. So here's my question. Out of all those live action universes, so easy to remember, what do you think is the healthiest live action universe and which one is in serious need of some milk?
Oh gosh. I mean, there are two universes in particular that have some pretty strong contenders in them. They're basically carrying the entire universe. But you know what? I am gonna go with the Arrowverse being the greatest, or at least the one that is doing well. Because if we really break it down, they still have Black Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Because Black Lightning and his family did survive post-crisis, and that means that we have Thunder and Lightning who are still active.
Very true. Very valid.
We also have the fact that Superman and Lois are great shows. Flash is doing, not much spoil. I don't want to spoil it, but like they're doing a great story arc right now from the comics that I'm interested to see how it does play out. I think that is a good time. If you fell off during season 7, rightfully so, because that's when Flash became Power Rangers / Star Wars. Season 8 right now in their current story arc are doing a great job. So the rest of them, Titans has been falling a little flat. I do have to catch up on Doom Patrol, which I still say, because based off what everybody is saying, is a great show. I just need to catch up on it. And by extension, if Stargirl exists in that universe or in another universe by itself, that one definitely needs help because it's just so random.
Yeah, I do agree. Arrowverse right now is at the top. I mean, 10 years straight. And yes, it certainly has its up and downs. But until told otherwise, it still looks to be going strong for at least another year. We'll see. Yeah, I think I have to pick on the obvious. I think the DCEU needs some milk.
I completely just blanked that from memory.
Yeah. Like they got a big win with Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I did enjoy the show a lot, but their next biggest win was the Batman, which is not the DCEU. They have moved the release dates of their 2 other movies twice this year alone. once last week. They pushed back Shazam 2 again.
So mad about that one.
Yeah, just a week because they couldn't compete with Avatar 2, The Way of Water Benders. Avatar 2 will copy off of Atla. You heard it here first.
Oh yeah.
If it happens, I called it. So I think, and their one chance to reset the universe, which is the Flash movie. I don't know what's gonna happen there.
I mean, Ground Zero just may be Hawaii, y'all. Like, it just may be.
I don't know. It's gonna be. I think they really, really need some help. I hope they can pull it together because they're doing some good stuff there, just not all coherent. On the same token, I'm gonna say the most underrated universe right now. This is gonna sound like a troll. It's not. It's the Pennyverse. The Pennyworth verse is the most underrated DC live action verse right now.
Oh my God. All right, y'all heard it here first. I will be stopping this to head on over to watch Pennyworth from the beginning to see if it's valid.
It's all on HBO Max. You can watch it all right now. It's not on Epix. Don't worry about it.
If you were watching it on Epix, congratulations. You're probably one of the few. Where, how?
Please tell me your secrets.
If you can't, they can't. There's no way. There's no way you could have been watching on. That's like watching something in a different multiverse. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's multi-dimensional cable right there.
Shout out to Rick and Morty.
Do you have a shout out to any underrated universes that could use a little more love?
And we're speaking only live action.
Yes, live action.
Okay. Just what I had some in my mind that was circling. All right. I do wish that we could do something for like, damn, it probably would actually be Pennyworth. Am I trying to think? Everything else is done or canceled.
We can include some canceled ones.
We can include some canceled ones. Okay. In that case, I kind of wish that Smallville, yo. Smallville has always been one of my favorites. The series has ended, but there are rumors that they're trying to bring back the show. It did continue on in comic book format, but there are rumors that they're trying to animate those comics to create a quote unquote season 11, which will have more inclusions of the of Lex Luthor and Batman and a bunch of like other DC characters from the Justice League. But yeah, I just wish that was underrated just because it does get pushed to the side now compared to what everything else that's been going on, what the Arrowverse has created, what the DCEU has created. It survived for 10 years. There are very few shows, especially from the CW, that survived 10 years. They're up there with Supernatural and I don't want to really say the other one, but it does have the number after 6 and it's not hell. But yeah, I think that Smallville really cracked open the door so that all these other things could run, fly, or for Richie from Static push. It did a lot of wonders back in this for its time, and it gets a lot of mockery because it's not up to snuff compared to the way the CGI of things now, but it is a great entry, great job. So really wish that Smallville underrated series could get more respect.
That is 100% fair. I love it. And my last multiverse question here is, if you could take any two characters from these various multiverse universes, slack them together, and pitch a story, a movie story.
Okay.
What two characters? What's the story? Hit me with it.
Okay. And I wish no, actually it does happen. I was like, I have one in mind, but it actually does happen in the comics already. I would want, this is gonna sound so weird, but I would want Plastic Man and maybe Mr. Fantastic. I It sounds so stupid, mainly because Plastic Man is a former criminal who basically has all the powers of Mr. Fantastic. He's just so much cooler. But Mr. Fantastic, I feel like, actually, I take that back. That is a trash comparison. I pulled that straight from the depths of stupidity. I don't got one. This is a tough one. I never really thought about this.
You mean you don't want to see Pennyworth versus DCEU Batman?
The way that Pennyworth would give him that work, though. Oh, wait, we're talking about any DC characters within these different universes, or
yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, my bad. Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, but let's see where he goes here.
Yeah, I was like, this is too many of them to choose from. All right, no, I think if I had to choose, it definitely would have to be. I want to see Arrow or Green Arrow, if you prefer the post season 4 name. I want to see Arrow face off against like Hawk from Titans. I want to see a death battle. I think the two of them are so randomly gruff in their scenarios that the two of them are just basically born fighters. And it's a light match. It's not a title card match. It's not like a Smallville Superman versus the Tyler Hoechlin Superman from Superman and Lois. Like, it's not one of those battles, though. That would actually be a lot of fun to see. But Arrow versus Hawk is just such a weird mix because of the fact that the two of them are just like basically two characters who are just randomly gruff for no reason.
I like it.
What do you got? What are you gonna wow us with superpower wise or whatever?
Oh, here we go. I promise. This is partially stolen from like interviews with Stephen Amell. It's Arrow related. But I've added some pizzazz, some little razzle dazzle. So my pitch, it's Amanda Waller, and it's Green Arrow, and it starts with Oliver's running into town by day as the mayor. He's doing Arrow stuff at night. Things are pretty good for him for once. Like for once, the city's looking good. Amanda Waller pulls up to his doorstep and says, "Look, I know you're the Green Arrow." And she's like, here's 7 bodies I can connect you with right now. She pulls out a file. She's like, boom, 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 boom. And then he's like, what do you want? In his gruff Arrow voice. And Amanda Waller says, I need you to go into an off-the-grid prison where I need you to go off-the-grid prison, a supermax prison, if you will. I'm going to pretend you'll be arrested. You'll have I'm going to tell all the prisoners fake news reports, so it makes it seem like you got arrested. In that, you have 3 days to find this one prisoner, get all the information out of him you can, and smuggle him out. And he's like, why? She's like, I don't have to tell you that. You're just going to have to do it. And she's like, okay, what's the prisoner's name? And he's going to say, it's Deathstroke.
Oh, okay.
So he has 72 hours to get information out of Deathstroke before something goes sideways. And he's in a prison full of the worst supervillains in the DC universe. And of course, at one point, the power limiters or whatever are going to go off. And he's just got a bow and arrow. So and I'm talking, get some Killer Frost in there. We get Tusk, of course.
Of course.
Tusk is getting his own 2 cells. But
Carmendillo's rolling around.
Carmendillo's there, But yeah, that's my pitch. I want to see Amanda Waller, Stephen Amell, and just a whole bunch of supervillains.
Now, are you talking Deathstroke from Arrowverse, or are we talking DCEU Deathstroke?
Oh, this would be DCEU Deathstroke.
Oh, okay. I like it.
He wouldn't know
it.
this Deathstroke at all.
I like that. Okay. So, Perpetua, if you're out there, let's make this happen. Let's sign the petition. We want the true Deathstroke to come through.
Have our people call your people.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is a fair way to lead up into our multiverse month, which we are officially calling. Drop that name for them.
Across the DC verse.
Hell yeah. Like Kite Man before us. Hell yeah. So over the next 4 weeks, expect four beautiful multiverse coverages. We are going to go to multiverse places we want to go to that might look a little green, and multiverse places we'd rather not go to. Some would say is an injustice to go to. But we're going to cover 4 different Elseworlds, crossover, combination tales. Some of these are explicitly multiverse. Some of them have to be. like for example, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they gotta be from somewhere else, right? Because
exactly.
Daredevil
there's no way.
spilled the acid that made the turtles and the ooze. That I heard that.
Oh man, in that
ago.
case, you definitely got to read the 3rd book.
So yeah, that's what we got on task. We're gonna do 4 multiverse tales, and then something new after that. But right now, it's all about the multiverse because no other studio is covering the multiverse right now, so we might as well do it.
Until then, always remember, take care of yourselves, and remember that when it comes to expert knowledge on the multiverse, I would definitely say check out Jet Li's The One. Please don't go around also beating up your multiverse selves. Just don't do that. Hang out with them, grab some coffee.
Yeah, and if you accidentally end up in the Pennyworth verse, go to England immediately because you will die otherwise. That universe is savage.